Join the voices of the ages in an ancient melody. It's a song you should not be afraid to sing. It's a song that was written by our fathers' fathers. It's the only thing that we have.
So, a couple familiar faces and folks that I have met in the room, but for those of you who I have not met, my name is Michelle Kalhane. I'm the current president and CEO at the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. My family is originally from Windward, Oahu, from Kaneohe, and I currently reside, I'm a homesteader, and I live in Kaupea here out in Kapolei. So I've been the president at the council for the last year. It's just going on a year now. And so I come to you tonight in that capacity, representing CNHA and the work that we've been doing for the last, we're almost 13 years old now, and this is, federal recognition has been a policy priority discussed amongst our membership at the council for the last decade, a little over a decade, and we have continued to pursue federal recognition in that time. So a little bit about CNHA. We're a nonprofit organization, a Native Hawaiian nonprofit member-based organization. Today we have about 162 Native Hawaiian nonprofits and for-profit organizations that do work in the community around housing, health, education. It's the whole gamut of what different folks do. We do cover four primary areas. We are a CDFI that brings access to capital for homestead communities. We do an annual Native Hawaiian convention. We do training and capacity building for our members. And then fourth, we are a very active policy working group. And so we do policy priorities that come to us from our members each year. And federal recognition is one of the policy priorities that has been with our policy center, like I said, since our inception. So we're going on 13 years old. Kapua had asked me to talk a little bit about our work at CNHA in terms of what we've done to pursue federal recognition, the model of nation within a nation, and talk a little bit about why we support this model of recognition for Native Hawaiians. As you know, the nation, or you may or may not know, I won't say as you know. If you have any questions, we'll have that discussion later. For the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, we support the model of nation within a nation, which is about a Native Hawaiian government making decisions by Hawaiians for Hawaiians. The process of Kana'i'olawalu, which most of you are familiar with, which requires certification of Native Hawaiians on a base roll. From that base roll, having a convening, creating a constitutional convention, and once that is done, at the will of the people, we will decide the form of governance structure. Our position today is that we would like federal recognition to be one of those structures available for us to pursue. So specifically, the Department of Interior, who has been here in Hawaii doing 15 statewide public hearings about the rulemaking process. The rulemaking process to set forward a process to leave a door open that after we convene as our own governing entity through Kana'i'olawalu, that if we so choose federal recognition, that would be available for us to do. I want to talk a little bit about that rulemaking process because I think many folks have that confused with that is asking the federal government to recognize us right now. Going through the rulemaking process does not recognize us as a governing entity. It creates a platform. It is the process that we would go through if we so choose after we convene our constitutional convention, and that is an option. So our position is that we leave that option open, that should be one of the options available to our people should we so choose to walk through that door. A little bit about the nation within the nation model. 566 tribes on the continent, and I know that folks don't like that analogy. We're not Indians, we're not tribes, we're Native Hawaiians. What the Department of Interior is proposing is a process specifically for Native Hawaiians You can be recognized by the federal government in 3 ways. Through Congress, the ACACA bill. We tried that for years and have not been successful. Through the courts, we don't think that's possible. Or through executive authority by the president. So the process of the Department of Interior being here for public hearings is the president in the White House using his executive authority, directing the Department of Interior to create a rule that would create a process for Hawaiians to go through should we choose federal recognition. So I just wanted to be clear that that is what the DOI process is. Saying yes to the DOI does not mean that you are saying we are federally recognized. You are agreeing to create a process for federal recognition to be a possibility. The nation within a nation model. CNHA feels strongly that a Native Hawaiian government is a government by Hawaiians for Hawaiians. That there are other models of singular citizenship that requires us to include all people, Hawaiian or non-Hawaiian, to be part of the governing entity. Our perspective is that that's what we have now. We have Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians who participate in a government, and by our deduction, we don't feel that Hawaiians are faring well, that we are the highest population in our prison systems. We have poor health statistics. Our children are falling through the cracks within the DOE system. And so the model of a nation within a nation is about forming a Native Hawaiian government of Hawaiians, by Hawaiians, for Hawaiians. It requires dual citizenship. It means that you don't give up U.S. citizenship to become a national or a subject to the kingdom. That the model that we are in support of says that you keep your U.S. citizenship and you can become a citizen of the Native Hawaiian governing entity, and we would negotiate and work with the federal government and the state government in the current status that we have as a governing entity to help to do things that would improve situations for Hawaiians. For example, as a Native Hawaiian governing entity that would negotiate with the state and federal government, we could negotiate a Native Hawaiian school system, similar to what charter schools are doing, that specifically allows culture-based learning, place-based learning. We could, through a negotiation with state and federal government, create our own healthcare system. And you see some of these things happening now through federal acts. Papa'ololokahi is a creation through Congress, federal act that creates Native Hawaiian Healthcare Act and brings money to the state of Hawaii for us to do Native Hawaiian healthcare through those funds. Similar to Native Hawaiian Education Act, similar to funds that come to us from the federal government through NAHASDA that comes to DHHL for Native Hawaiian housing. So the position that we take in terms of nation within a nation looks to expand those pieces of legislation. There are over 150 pieces of legislation that identify a trust relationship exists between the federal government and the Native Hawaiian community, and we want to expand that and work within that framework. That is basically what the nation within a nation model is about. What I brought with me tonight, and Poka was on a show on Olelo earlier, maybe a month ago, and this was a chart that they had talked about on that show. At the time it was Robin, Poka, and Leon Seo, I believe, and John Waihe'e, who talked a little bit about this chart, and I brought that chart just so that you can ask questions about the different things on the chart. But what it does is it's a snapshot that compares the different models of governance so that you can see what those different things mean and what that requires. I'll be perfectly honest about models that are outside of nation within a nation. I believe that every Hawaiian, regardless of what model of governance you choose or you think is best for us. That we each have our own opinions and our own decisions to make about this process. I think we all look to seek for what is going to be in the best interest of our people. Undeniable that that is what people seek. People have different values and different approaches to seeing how that is possible. I don't think that anyone, whichever model you choose, should give up your quest to fight for what you believe is the way to go. What has been difficult is that folks who choose, who are kingdom advocates or advocates for going to the UN, look at folks who support nation within a nation, that we're traitors, that we're sellouts, that we are, whatever those opinions are. I respect those opinions, those are yours, but I'm going to choose what I think is realistic in my lifetime. I think that there is a part of every Hawaiian that believes that true independence, in the sense that we hear and talk about our history over and over, can be achievable. My personal opinion, and why I choose to support a nation within a nation model, is, do I think that that is achievable in my lifetime? I don't. That doesn't mean we should stop that fight. That doesn't mean we should give up that quest. I am saying, I believe that I can take this as far as I can take it in my lifetime, and then it becomes the kuleana of the next generation to pick up and take it to the next level. Should we stop fighting for that? Absolutely not. I don't think that we should stand in each other's way of trying to seek one form or the other. And we can talk a little bit about that in the question and answer, because I think that there is a fear that federal recognition is the impediment to seeking total independence. I will say to those who have brought that to my attention that it has been 121 years without federal recognition, and independence has not been achieved. So federal recognition has not been the impediment to achieving total independence. Okay? It's not been the barrier. It hasn't been the barrier for 121 years. And so I leave that to that. And finally, I will just say, it is both frustrating and exciting, because we're having the conversation. We're sitting in small groups like this, having conversations, trying to educate ourselves about all of the different models and what that could mean for our people and for our future. And that we don't have all the answers. 50 years ago, if you told my grandfather that there would come a day where 2 men or 2 women could be married, he would say, no way. And today that is possible. So I'm saying that I don't disagree that it is possible. And I don't say that you should stop fighting your fight. But I'm asking that we understand that we're not going to stop fighting our fight either. That there is nothing wrong with continuing on all of these paths. There is no one without the other. And that is for us, in my opinion, to have the great debate, and why it is so powerfully important that we engage in a process where we all participate, because at the end of the day, it will be the will of the people that decides, are we going to be a nation within a nation? Are we going to go to the UN? Are we going to restore the kingdom? But the only way we're going to get there is if we all engage and participate. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Popa. It's probably not 20 minutes, Kapua, but I would prefer to answer the questions and really have a conversation, a two-way dialogue, rather than me telling you everything that I think about federal recognition, and to better answer questions that you might have about this model. I think is a better approach, so that I can help facilitate those questions.
Sing a song of sovereignty wherever you may be. Throw your voice upon the wind and let it rain. Join the voices of the ages in ancient melody. It's a song you should not be afraid to sing. It's a song that was